Greetings and welcome. This is PsychicMediumRoberto, and I truly hope you are doing well. May we be guided and blessed by Spirit in the reading. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events and deals with natural disasters. Disclaimer: all cases, names, people are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. All numbers used in the cases pertain to the case's context specifically and may not bear resemblance to similar or same numbers you may have in your date of birth. Welcome to Intuitive Sundays, episode 29. When I look at this, let's call it a thumbnail talk board, of course, it's mainly all American. Got some celebrities in the mix. Michael Madsen, that passed away this week. We'll have a look at his passing. Reports say he passed from a heart attack, so we'll have a look at those numbers. And then, of course, Mr. Oil himself, Baby Lube, got off lightly because there may be other people in the background that wore their white clothes but left without their clothes, you know what I mean? And yet the bastard walks free with all his accomplices and all the lives that were ruined. Ask Justin Bieber how he's doing today. Then we have the tragic events, deadly Texas floods, and it's really a very bad situation. And of course, there are many people that have been killed during this. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of children missing because apparently there was a Christian camp happening along the river banks, which obviously appeased the Satanists when they switched on their machine. So we'll have a bit of a look at that. I wasn't intending to speak about Brian Kuberger in this episode because during this week, I released what I thought would be the final episode of Idaho. But of course, there's been a lot of interesting comments from that episode. So let's leave him there for now. There might be something coming through on him. And then a community member had asked me, and it did ping on me, to look at the situation with the firefighters that rushed out to a fire. And of course, they were taken out. Now, a community member mentioned that one of the first responders that were taken out was also present at the crime scene at Idaho murders, the Idaho 4 murders. So we'll have a look at that as well. All right, so I'm getting goosebumps here. I must say I like Michael. From my humble perspective, from a producer, film person, TV person, amazing character actor. I loved his movies. Maybe a little bit wild for me, but nonetheless, a lovely character. And when the celebrities pass, there's always a reason, right? If you high profile in the Illuminati ballsack, then your chances of long life are there, provided you submit and do what they want you to do. And if you don't, or if you want to write a novel or write a book, like we've seen recently with Mr. Gene Hackman and Heshe, there's unfortunately a price to pay. So I'm going to look at Michael first. So he passes on this day, what would be July the 3rd. I'll just put for him this 3-day block here. And of course, above it, I have an energy flow read available. Because obviously everything takes place at the beginning of the month, which they try to do as well, by the way, just so it creates a bit of confusion. But let's not forget, for example, and we're going to get to it next, is the floods. Because you remember the episodes that I did with Helene and Milton, all portal sequences, and I have that previous chart here. I'm going to bring it in for the floods in Texas, because the floods in Texas, for me, are problematic. And when I heard there's a whole camp of Christians on the side of the banks, wow. All right. So let's create, if you are watching the visual version, let me create a differentiate. If you are watching the video version, then I'm going to just make Michael's blocks purple, just so we can see exactly where he is. All right. So, by all accounts, according to preliminary reports, he dies of a heart attack, right? So, this would be this day, June. I've got it as June 33, but it would correspond with July the 3rd. We do note in the regular date sequence, there's a portal sequence the day before he dies, unfortunately. There's, so if I look in the reel first, the day he passes, so we got an 89 the night before. 89 doesn't look like a heart attack to me. And then July the 3rd, as we know with these pacts and the rules of engagement, there's always a price to pay. Interestingly, on July the 4th, which technically would be the day after, right? In the +9, we have a 2911-2. A 2911-2. What episode number are we on? 2911-2. The most obvious giveaway, you know they love their numbers. And I must just share this with the community members and with yourself. In my path of being psychic, clairvoyant, and then came numerology, I never intended to learn numerology. And, you know, there's a lot of speculation, and I got a bit of heat in the beginning, that numerology is regarded as satanic. They love their numbers. So, you know, it was just fortuitous or spirit-led that I would be in the presence of a numerologist who was a practicing Satanist, by the way. Always popping those Buffett signs where, I mean, just general stuff. She would just pop off devil signs and all sorts of shit, Illuminati motherfucker. But lo and behold, I learned all the tricks and trades of the number systems. And I was purely there as a producer, producing numerology videos, trying to promote a numerologist. Discovered a whole lot of nonsense about her. Anyway, devil people will remain in hell. So on the day that he passes, or the night, so this 33-6 here, and we mentioned this in the previous episode on the cold cases. 3 cold cases out of the blue, all got sacrificial energy and numbers around them. And here we find the most famous 33-6. 39-12-3, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. 48-12-3, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. I can report with confidence with this 21-3 year. Oh, in case you don't know, 39-12-3, 48-12-3 is our friends from the 3-letter word company. Because if you know your history, like Bob Marley would say, the CIA, FBI, including the mob, and here's the mob number here, 50 outcome 5, around Gene Hackman as well, just popped on me, or pinged on me rather. We know the CIA run the movie business. We know their Monarch MK Ultra programming, and they were controlling and holding force over artists. Jimmy just popped in, Janice just popped in, controlling these artists. Screenplays 22/4, 13/4 according to script. A price must be paid. Now, interesting when these things happen, right? Particularly with celebrities, right? And this is the price, Is it worth it in the end? One day we'll find out and see if it was really, right? What we always see, when the announcement was made that he had passed from a heart attack, didn't sit well with me. The day before, we always find a 20 outcome 2. Someone has an outburst. I'm just going to stay within his 3 days. I'm not going to get too involved. Now, we'll see here, because there's an overlap, going a little bit deep now, with when the Gregorian calendar came in, superseding the Jules calendar. And I mentioned this in last week's podcast, that we find a discrepancy in the calendar of 2 days. So that is why I always do a 72-hour scan. So I mentioned, we see here in Monday, we have that portal sequence. And then July the 2nd, 2 days later, that portal sequence repeats itself, right? So unfortunately with Michael, as great character actor as he was, we have a 33-6 conflict. 21-3 would suggest, and I got sidetracked there, 21-3 suggests that Michael did not go willingly. And since deciding to look at his event over the past 48 hours, I've received at least 2, possibly 3, I lost count maybe, but at least 2 images of him during this event, and not very pleasant, I must say. It's interesting, there's always an outburst before, so one can, this is pure speculation. Oh, it's my time is up already? Time has flown by so fast. And unfortunately, we see the 35-8 here. So this would have been through the night into the morning when this would have taken place by the looks of things here, the way the numbers are stacked. We see the ghastly 35-8 around satanic rituals. 41-5. By the way, I did look at the dark side calendar, the other people's calendar, motherfuckers. There's nothing specific around this date other than it's 13 days after a particular days, and then there's a 6 and all sorts of shit, right? So no surprises, unfortunately, that Michael would meet his end in quite a horrific way, by the way, I must say. Didn't look good. May his soul rest in peace as much as possible. Then, of course, we had the Diddy announcement. Oh, where's my other? Oh, yeah. So let's just sort out Diddy. Diddy. So Diddy's situation happens the same time, or more or less, to the Brian Kuba case, right? So let's point it out in numbers and not just say, well, yeah, obvious, blah. So Diddy is this column here. So which would be, let me just make sure I'm correct. In this column here, there's all these deals that have been made here. 38-11-2, 47-11-2, 50 outcome 5. Now, when I did the reading for Kuberger, I mentioned that this 50 outcome 5 is not good. The 50 outcome 5 in this case applies to Diddy, and I'll explain why. The number 50 5-0 with an outcome 5. In the context of what we know about Diddy, all these sick Diddy parties, right? 50 outcome 5 are those swinger parties, the debauch parties, anything goes parties. And it affects the wider community. So, in my opinion, I mean, him not getting charged on the other charges is bullshit, right? I mean, come on. Bullshit. And here it is here, 14.5, bullshit. 14.5, bullshit. There, with the hidden 41.5 is problematic. This 41.5 is problematic. So if we switch to a court situation, right? So this guy gets acquitted on the most heinous crimes ever, right? I mean, ask Justin Bieber, right? This 41.5 hidden in a court context. So I mentioned 14.5 is about disclosure. There's a lot of evidence again, and this it applies to Kuberger, but it applies to Diddy as well. Hidden 41.5, there's a lot of information and evidence that has been destroyed. Why was it destroyed? Because it impacts other people that were wearing white clothes at the Diddy freak-offs, right? Ask Will Smith if he knows anything about it. Just popped into my brain. So once again, it's government. Here's all the legal numbers here. Where did I see those 10 ones? Yeah, they are right here. Government people are involved, high-level officials involved, high celebrities involved, and of course the hidden agenda 44.8. What has been hidden from us? All the bullshit that was going on. And not only about the bullshit that was going on, about the people that were involved. And that is why, in my opinion, it feels like there's been a bit of a trade-off. Come on, you'll do a couple of years, you'll still get all your money, you can go back to whatever the fuck you were doing. We'll just make it a lenient sentence for you. All bullshit. Ask Trump. All right. Let's get into the serious stuff. Now, unfortunately, so let me just take away the purple stuff that I did for Michael. In fact, let me leave it there. I'll just make it orange. So orange will be for the floods, and peace and light to the families and community members that were affected by this. I mean, it's heinous, right? Heinous, heinous, heinous. I'll incorporate the firefighters a bit later, don't stress. Let me just change this here. All right. According to, I heard another report, either it was late last night or this morning, it's now Sunday morning, early bells. The worms have still got the heaters on. They haven't even thought of going outside. It's so flippin' cold. All right. July the 3rd is when the official date is given for the flood, right? Let me just clear these pigs here. All right. My concern about, yes, we have sacrificial numbers around. My big concern is this number here. 20 outcome 2 is the water number. So this is technically the night before, right? So local time, I believe it was early hours of the morning, 3, 4 o'clock, or could be a bit earlier. But let's just say while people were sleeping, the waters came down, right? That's even the worst part. The bizarre thing here, now let me just show you. The night before, we see a 20 outcome 2. So we can say, yes, people were camping along a river. There was, of course, a large volume of water. The only, now that's in the energy flow read, right? In the real, only the day after only the day after, this is problematic, we see the 20 outcome 2. Do you see that there? So how can there be, so if we look July the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the real, in terms of the calendar, how the heck is there water after the fact? Surely there should be water in this zone here, July the 3rd, and we should see water here. This, and having the water the day before is problematic for me. Having it after is problematic for me. So what am I saying? We're not seeing, and I know this is going to sound weird, we're not seeing, I'm going to say it, a swell of water on the actual day that it happened. Something is wrong. Now, I've just been shown it again. 3 years ago, when I started the feature film that we're finishing off, we're almost done now, I was introduced to a lot of environments in South Africa where there's a lot of ancient history through this film as well. And part of that was how the alien race, Anunnaki, etc., would use sound resonance, energy resonance, and the combination of sound and energy creates force. Now, you can read up about the Mpumalanga. I suppose I should write it out. Maybe I should write it out. Give me 1 second. So if you're interested in ancient, all right. I'm going to put this name on the chart here. For the enthusiasts, if you would like to research about the ancient sites, I've always had a feeling I should do a video for you guys because it's not far from where I am. It's a nice 3 to 4 hour drive round about there. And I've got nice contacts in that area. In Mpumalanga, that's the area. In Mpumalanga is the province. You can just type in Mpumalanga ancient sites, right? And you can see here in Google, in Mpumalanga ancient sites, right? Now I want to show you something. There's already very good examples. So I'm going to let you see my screen. This picture here on the right is exactly where we were and filming, even here in this area here. Now, what I want to show you is you see these designs here. Now, they're not your typical crop circles. Okay, let me explain what's going on here and why I'm telling you this. Now, this is very old, right? We're talking hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years ago, right? Now, the theory around how things were done back in the day, for example, how the hell did they build those pyramids, right? So I'll try to find more examples, but you see these circles here. These circles, so let me just give you some background. This is for the enthusiasts. Back in the day, because of where we are in Africa, a lot of people assumed that these areas were set aside for cattle, for maize or grain, for people to store. But further investigation and research revealed that these circles here that are in line with each other here were energy portals used with, and I'll show you here, these here, right? You see these stones here. If you use them in a particular way, it creates sound energy, sound resonance, and it's ancient technology. Okay, I've been to these places. Here's a good example of what I want to show you. I've physically stood in these places, right? So I want to just show you something here. I received an image yesterday about the floods. So the question I was asking, let me just crop it here. The question I was asking is, what created the storm. I want to show you something here. Here's another example. You see these circles around you? If you're not watching the video version, let me explain. There are circles all over in Mpumalanga like these that I'm showing you, stone circles. Now, within the stone circles, there are more circles, and this is where they were generating energy and sound. That is why, for example, when you look at churches, any of these places of gathering, that they have these towers or peaks at the top, is because it would allow the sound resonance to go up. And so the next stage, now if you do a deep dive, and let me tell you, the rabbit hole is very deep here. If you go further into the research, which I have, you will also discover that the designs that we see in these stone circles resemble current day circuit boards or current day equipment. This design of the circle you will find in cell phones, for example. The technology used in cell phones comes from this shit. I want to see if I can find another good example here. And by the way, here's a good example. Let me bring it into the main slide. Maybe I should go out there for a couple of days and do a video for you guys. I think you'll find it very interesting. Now that the schedule is loosening up a bit. Let me take away these pictures for the time being. Look at this. I've spoken to the gentleman that has done research in this area, like extensive. Look at the symmetrical design around these circles, that you have equidistant triangles. How many sides is this? 3, 4, 5, 6. What is this, a hexagon? This is not all by chance. All right, what am I getting to? You get the picture, right? Particularly the shapes. Look at the 3 circles together here. So what am I getting to? I kept on asking, how did this happen? And I kept on getting shown like 3 circles together. So in other words, in my opinion, there is some kind of device being used stemming from this technology, ancient technology. I just want to see if there's another good example here. But you get the gist. So what am I getting to? July the 3rd, which is June 33, right? In the energy flow. So already, again, we have the presence of the 33-6. It's no coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. We have a 6 plus 6 conflicts, speaks about human. Human, look at the next number, sacrifice, 7. And I kept on being given the image of 3 circles together, the energy that was released to create this water, to force this water down. The day before, here's a body of water. Okay. Now we need supporting numbers to confirm the theory, right? And the image I received. So there's a 32-5 at the start of the sequence, which is about destruction. So I don't know the area. I don't know what's upstream, where the water was, how it came down. I know there was rain and storm, but something's telling me something was also broken to release the water. 32-5, something was broken to release the water. And I'm getting that same vibe again with the 3 circles. Hold on a sec. So we got 20, outcome 2, big body of water appears out of nowhere. Yes, they were by a river. Yes, okay, fine. But why is it before and why is it after and why is it not during? Something's very suspicious. if we look at the 33, let me see if I can pick it up here. Here it is here. So the day before, you see, these numbers are telling me a completely different narrative. Let's go back to the main chart. So just remember, the day before, we have a 44-8 hidden. That's also suspicious. Why is it suspicious? If it's the day before, so it sits here. Look here, it sits the day before in the zone here. There's a hidden 44-8. So why? So let me explain why that is odd. 44-8 can speak about the perfect storm, right? 44-8. Now, why would a storm, that is the storm, be hidden during the day? So while everyone was at the campsite, at the river, enjoying their Christian holiday, enjoying their 4th of July, there was a hidden storm. So why would there be a hidden storm? Or was there a hidden device? You can't hide a storm, but you can certainly hide a device. So the day before, in the +6 action, there's a hidden 44-8. Oh, then all of a sudden we see this burst of water. Come on, you motherfuckers. And in line with the portal sequence. There is bullshit in the air. So if we go, I want to just look at something here. I'm picking up something. So the day of the chaos. So the morning. So when everyone started waking up early hours of the morning, I believe it was around 3 or 4, round about there. Dark. That also makes it difficult and very, I feel sorry for some of those people there. I mean, can you imagine waking up and you're floating or you're in water? I mean, can you imagine waking up and you're going down a river and you don't know what the hell's going on? What's your chance of survival? So the morning, in the time zone when this all happens, we have 3 9s, chaos. 3 9s, something's unnatural, by the way. Something is unnatural, by the way. Hidden, here's a very concerning ritualistic number. They want to destroy families, 42-6. 4th of July is a family event, right? Family, friends, cousins, grandparents. Everyone gets together on the 4th of July. All families get together. What was the agenda? Destroy families and human beings, but in the main, families. Can you imagine all the parents of all the missing girls and the children that were at the camp? Motherfuckers. Pigs, man. It's interesting how energy, and if you're in the flow, and I must say, spirit is fully alive and well, I must tell you. To do the cold case prior to this episode, and then this episode, we've got all the satanic bullshit going on, right? Motherfuckers. Now, the Helene and Milton incident, right? Helene is on the left, Milton on the right. What are these people doing? And by the way, they're not people, right? So they've got alien technology, right? Helene, let's see what's going on here. Let's see if we can pick up any similarities. So we note there is a 9+9 conflict when the storm goes down. Yes, you see, here's a good example. I shit you not, as the phrase goes. The day the hurricane happens, look here. There's the 20 outcome 2. On the day 20 outcome 2 on the day. The day, so the big water is before the event and the big water is after the event. Bullshit. Orchestrated is one word we can use. On the day of hurricane, there's it there, 20 outcome 2 on the day. Hidden in the +9 of Milton as well, 44.8. Something is very off about the Christians along the river banks. Let's have a look at Milton. So Milton has all these chaos 8s. Environment. You see, here's another weird situation. And I believe it was Milton. Because of Milton, we discovered the portal sequence in the disputed Gulf of US, Gulf of Mexico. In the case of Milton, the water's in the wrong place as well. It's hidden. In fact, the water's hidden before the event. You see the differences here? What's the Bob Marley, you can tell all the lies you want, but the truth will always come out vibe. Bullshit. So here is water on the day, 20 outcome 2. Let's have a look here. Interesting. Yeah, so Milton, the water's hidden. Now, how can you hide the water when the water's there, right? So what water are they hiding? Then it reveals itself. Bullshit in the air with these as well. Bullshit in the air, yeah. So unfortunately, so let's just say we acknowledge in the physical something happened, right? But the numbers are saying something's off, something's out of kilter, something is definitely not right about the storm. Pigs, man. Their time is coming, don't worry. Their time is coming. Now, let's go have a look. So, there's a theory around the arsonist luring in firefighters, and I believe that was on the Sunday. Eh? So Sunday, Monday. Yeah, you see here 29/11/2. The 44/8 is problematic in that it always brings around the idea of design. Of course, we have portal sequences around. I want to just check in on the Idaho case. I've got the details here. I'm just looking at the day of the event. So the 29/11/2 happens is present the day before the murders. Hidden 27/9, 18/9, 33/6, the usual suspects, 19/10/1. All right, so we get it just 22/4. Let's go here. So we got a 16/7 the day before, 30 outcome 3. So this would be 29, which is here. Okay, I've got the sequence here. So there's the 29, hidden 35/8. See, hidden 44/8. Yeah, I may just need to do a deeper dive in terms of Firefighter. But there's certainly, I think I've spoken about the Firefighter already, haven't I? 2911-2, problematic. Let me just go here. There's a portal sequence around as well. So if according to a community member, if one of the firefighters or medics, EMS, was present at the Idaho crime scene, this sequence of numbers here all talks about destroying and getting rid of evidence. So that evidence, I guess, can include eyewitnesses. This 3811-2 is problematic. You see, when you get 3811-2, now one can say, yes, it's an elevation of the 2911-2, but the 3811-2 is hidden, right? Which means there's higher ups that know about, or let me just say this, before, I think I might have said this, before the shooting takes place, people know what is, not only the shooter knows what's going to happen, there's at least two other people that know what's going to happen. We've got monarch numbers around as well, 3912-3, sacrifice, same numbers present at Idaho. Let's confirm the hazard here. 3912-3, 33-6, right? This is the firefighter gets shot. Overlap 3912-3. At the overlap 33-6. Remember, the event takes place here, so we would technically include the first row of the next day, which matches the Idaho numbers 33-6, 3912-3. Good God, man. What is happening? Is the devil hiding in the US? Or is the devil controlling the US? The most heinous demon of the world. Shame, man. Let's just see. We got problems with the fire sequence as well. 26-8. So 26-8 can speak about gunshot victims, can speak about the gruesome nature of the crime. But because this is planned and premeditated, it was definitely a staging, 26-8 staging after the fact. Let's see if we can get confirmation. Here's confirmation, yeah, actually. So the fire sequence happens here, right? 2 days later, within the 48-hour scan, here's the staging number, hidden 43-7. Hidden as well with the purpose of destroying evidence, 43-7. Is this made to look like, my God. The perpetual nature of the bullshit. I mean, the house, we know 11-11-22, Illuminati, white privilege, numbers, satanic numbers used in the negative. Shame, man. Shame, man. All operational. So, Dodge as ever, the community member that wanted me to have a look at this, Dodge as ever. Numbers are matching Idaho numbers here as well. It might be worth investigating that further. Present. So what are the chances? 3 years later, two people connected to the same crime or two events. What is this world coming to, man? And present thoughts to the people out in Texas at the moment. Unfortunately, there are scrupulous things happening in the world. And may we stay safe and blessed. May our hearts heal from the pain that's been inflicted on us by these cockroaches. Bye for now.